Say the Jai Dhani. Say when you tell them Jai Dhani.
Well, we should do that.
What?
You want the Jai Dhani sung?
Well, the short one.
Huh?
Short.
Shishi Guru Guranga Pindar Takagiri Hari Radhavinood Pi Hari Rat Govinda Jyoti
Jai.
Dali Vishnom Vishnupad Paramahansavara Jayasta Terasata Shri Shimari Si Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Dali Vishnom Vishnupad Paramahansavara Jayasta Terasata Shri Shimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki
Jai.
Dali Vishnom Vishnupad Paramahansa Terasata Shri Shimad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhava Mahamahotsav Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Anitali Vishnom Vishnupad Terasata Shri Shimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Maharaj Ki Dali Vishnom Vishnupad Terasata Shri Shimad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Kesava Goswami Maharaj Ki Dali Vishnom Vishnupad Terasata Shri Shimad Srila Bhakti Raksha Shuddhadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Dali Vishnom Vishnupad Paramahansa Bharati Terasata Shri Shimad Gurudev Jagadguru Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Ki Bhagavat Shiva Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shapta Goswami Satchidananda Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shirupa Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Shadda Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Kamara Ramananda Shri Gaura Parashad Vinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Das Thakur Ki Jai Shri Bhava Rama Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Principal Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Viraj Vasi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Maya Pradam Ki Jai Dev Ki Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Devi Ki Jai Jagannath Baladevi Subhadra Devi Sura Samchakra Chaitanya Tata Gopinath Ki Narasingha Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakti Bhagavan Maharaj Ki Ananda Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai
Hari Hari Bol. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Suruto Bhangor Mamamandamater Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratanagar Singhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Preshta Libhi Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamshivata tatakstitaha Karshan Venus Vanair Gopir Gopinata Shriyestuna Brindai Tulsi Dimbai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Diksha and Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Lila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa, Ashtatarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, Nitya Lila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and Nitya Lila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And on this disappearance day of my Siksha Guru, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, I offer my Dandavat Pranams at his lotus feet. And also this disappearance day of the exalted eternal associate of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur, on his disappearance day today also. My Dandavat Pranams to all my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, and my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis. So there's a nice lecture given by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj in Alachua, Florida on May 25th, 2001. I wasn't there at that festival because I was in Russia at that time. And this is a very nice, thorough lecture. Begins with a painting taken from the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Gauranga Mahaprabhu holding Namacharya Haridas Thakur's transcendental body and dancing in the kirtan. So Srila Gurudev is telling to all the devotees, come with me to Jagannath Puri, near to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Haridas Thakur. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are more deep than the ocean. They are more deep than even thousands upon thousands of oceans. No ordinary person can understand the Lord's pastimes, and even most devotees cannot realize them. One day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, "O Haridas Thakur, in this world there are many uncultured and materialistic Mohammedans, Muslims, who want to control the world and make all people Muslims by the help of a sword or any other way. They address those who are not Muslims as kafir, meaning against God. They tell their followers, somehow or other, by hook or by crook, make them Muslims." Kind of sounds familiar. With the mandates of today. So, this is still their policy, Gurudev is telling, of the Muslims. They don't honor other religions. They don't chant the name Hari, Krishna, Govinda, or any other name of God. and they don't believe in the form of God at all. They are like Mayavadis. So Mahaprabhu inquired from Haridas Thakur, is there any process by which they can be liberated? So Haridas Thakur replied, oh, once there was a Mohammedan, a Muslim, who while passing through a forest, he felt the urge to pass stool. As he sat somewhere in the forest for passing, a very powerful boar saw him from a distance and ran to attack him from the backside. As boars run one-pointed with their eyes closed, so that boar ran to kill the person from the backside by tearing him to pieces with his sharp teeth. As soon as the man saw that the boar was going to attack him, he called out, Ha-ram, Ha-ram. Ha-ram means condemned, or abominable, or impure. He condemned that boar by calling out, Ha-ram, Ha-ram. And hearing that man calling out, Ha-ram, Krishna, in the form of his incarnation, Lord Ram, considered, he is calling me. I must go and help him. Lord Ram came there at once, since he is non-different from his holy name. He gave that man liberation and attainment of Vaikuntha Dham. There's an endnote for this also. This was all because the man had unknowingly chanted, O Lord Ramchandra. Ha means O, and Ram may refer to Lord Ramachandra. The holy name is very powerful. If a person does not know the glories of the holy name, and yet chants with respect, or even without respect, he will certainly achieve the fruits of chanting the holy names. He will not attain prem, but he will be liberated from this world up to this. Or he may gain much wealth. Moreover, if someone takes proper diksha and chants with honor, with a sense of a relation to Krishna, what will become of him? If he is under the guidance of any exalted Rasik Tattva Gyan Vaishnava, he will gradually attain Shraddha, firm faith in Sadhu, Guru, and Krishna. Then Nishtha, steadiness in devotional service, Ruchi, taste for service and bhajan, and Asakti, spontaneous attachment to Krishna. After that, he will become liberated. Another end note. And then after that, after he becomes liberated, he will attain the stages of prem, sneha, man, pranay, rag, anurag, bhav, and mahabhav. So we should try to continuously chant Krishna's name in this process, like Haridas Thakur. If a person cannot do this still, he will achieve liberation. He will not die. Krishna's name will save him. But try to chant the name in the approved process. First, associate with a highly qualified Vaishnava who will give you Diksha, at which time you will receive Divya Gyan, or all transcendental knowledge. You will then become detached from worldly desires. And very soon, you will develop a thick relationship with Krishna that will manifest according to your constitutional form. You will gradually develop Shraddha, Nishtha, Ruchi, and Asakti, and after that, Rati. This Rati is Shuddha Sattva, as I explained yesterday. This is all being explained by Srila Haridas Thakur in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila chapter 3. Once, by the wish of Sri Krishna, Srila Haridas Thakur came to see Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, who was at that time at the premises of his father. Many learned persons and brahmanas had assembled there, and they were discussing the glories of the holy name. Some were telling that the holy name can give liberation, and others told that it can never give liberation. So both parties were quarreling. Upon the arrival of Haridas Thakur, everyone honored him, and they asked him the same question with which they were struggling, which is, can one achieve liberation by the holy name or not? Then Haridas Thakur very humbly replied, there is no need of the pure name for achieving liberation, for even by the semblance of the holy name, anyone can very easily be liberated. Then Haridas Thakur said, as the sun begins to rise, even before it is visible, it dissipates the darkness of night. So with the first glimpse of sunlight, fear of thieves, ghosts, and demons immediately disappears. And when the sun is actually visible, everything is manifest, and everyone begins performing his religious activities and regulative duties. Similarly, the first hint that offenseless chanting of the Lord's holy name has awakened, it dissipates the reactions of sinful life immediately. I'm reading that sentence again. Similarly, the first hint that offenseless chanting of the Lord's holy name has awakened dissipates the reactions of sinful life immediately. And when one chants the holy name offenselessly, one awakens to service in ecstatic love at the lotus feet of Krishna. And when one chants the holy name offenselessly, one awakens to service in ecstatic love at the lotus feet of Krishna. Liberation is the insignificant result derived from a glimpse of the awakening of offenseless chanting of the holy name. So that's...
So like Namabas?
He's not saying Namabas, but it's probably referring to Nam Abbas. This is actually quoted from Antya-lila Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Namacharya Haridas Thakur was asked a question in an assembly at the house of Raghunath Das Goswami's father and uncle. And the people were arguing, holy name, can it give liberation? Some were saying it can, some were saying it can't, and then they asked Namacharya Haridas Thakur. So Namacharya Haridas Thakur is saying it's not necessary that the pure name should be there to get liberation. He says, liberation is the insignificant result derived from a glimpse of the awakening of offenseless chanting of the holy name. While dying, Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord, intending to call his son Narayan. Nevertheless, he attained the spiritual world. What then to speak of those who chant the holy name with faith and reverence? Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda. So, now hearing the words of Haridas Thakur, a Brahmin named Gopal what? Chakravarti. Yeah. He became very angry, and he began to challenge him. All others warned Gopal not to challenge Haridas Thakur because of the Thakur's elevated position in bhakti, but still he challenged. He said, even the name itself cannot give liberation, and you are telling us that Nam Abbas, the semblance of Harinam, can give liberation? If I am speaking the truth, then your nose will fall off due to leprosy, and if I am wrong and you are right, then my nose will fall off. So everyone present became angry at that person. And the father of Raghunath Das Goswami told him, get out from our assembly. I have no sympathy for you. He had been paying that person many thousands of rupees monthly for being his tax collector, but now he said, I have stopped all connection with you. Get out of my kingdom. So after a couple of days, guess what happened? That Brahman's entire body was attacked by leprosy, and his nose melted away. After many days, being extremely upset, he left for Aparad Banjan Pat. That's the place where offenses are destroyed in Navadvip. There he prayed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I have done wrong. I have committed offenses to the feet of a high-class Vaishnava. Please excuse me. So he prayed to Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgave this Nam Aparadi Brahmin and instructed him to continuously chant the holy name. Gopal Chakravarti, he did so, and his leprosy soon disappeared, leaving him beautiful as before. And now he was a devotee. So, Haridas Thakur was a very exalted devotee. If you chant the holy name, a special kind of power comes to you, that whatever you speak will become true. What power comes to you if you chant the holy name?
Whatever you speak will come true.
Yeah. Your words will bear fruit. I have personally tested and examined this. Once I was chanting the holy name, thinking, if I am chanting this name purely, then this must be done. And at once it was done. I have examined this so many times. If you are chanting the holy name purely and you tell someone, oh, you should die, then that person will die. If you're chanting the holy name what? Purely. Shuddhanam. I think what Gurudev is referring to here is the story of, well, it could be anyway. It could be the story that when he was still in his occupation as a police person and he began chanting and he completely lost control of time, completely internal, didn't actually make it to work that day. And the next day when he came into work, all the policemen, they were congratulating him and they were telling him, oh, you really did an amazing thing yesterday. You located that one document that we needed to find. Nobody could find it. And when you came, you just immediately went and you took the document out from the huge stack of documents. And Gurudev was thinking, I didn't come into work yesterday. And so, in that case, Krishna came in his form. It's a very famous story Gurudev told. And then after that, then Gurudev could no longer continue with his, with that stage of, and ashram. And very soon after that, he went to Navadvip, met his Guru Maharaj, and left everything. So now, Gurudev is saying that if you are chanting the holy name purely and you tell someone, oh, you should die, then that person will die. Narada Rishi cursed the sons of Nala Kuber and Manigriva. At once become trees. And by the power of his chanting of the holy name, they immediately began turning into trees. Once Narada told someone, oh, you are now dead? Oh, come on, come on, come on. And that person immediately came alive and began to speak. This is the power of the holy name. I think that's the baby that was killed by the queens of Chitraketu, right? Who actually was who?
With the baby?
Yes. Who was the baby?
He had told his parents who he was. Did he do that? Because he spoke when he came up. What was he speaking?
No, the baby was Angira Rishi, who came there at first with Narada Rishi, right? And the king was lamenting and everyone was, I cannot have a son, I have thousands of queens. And then Angira Rishi told, oh, you should perform this yajna, right? And you will certainly get a son. So that happened. They followed it. But it's actually Angira Rishi who became their son. He took the body of that. Because why? Because it was not in their karma to have a son. And when he told them that this son will be both the cause of great happiness and great distress. And you remember what happened? Why the son died?
The co-queens were jealous that
Yes.
they were not the mothers.
Yes. And they poisoned him to die. So, and then Narada Rishi came along and that baby became alive. Maybe there's some other pastimes as well, but I know at least that is there. So once, here's another pastime. Once the ocean swallowed up a mother bird's eggs, which she had laid by the ocean's shore. Garuda came and told the ocean, you should return the eggs to this bird. When he did not hear a reply, he breathed in, and by the power of the holy name, he drank all of the ocean's water, and the ocean became dry. You can also examine whether or not this is true. Chant for some years like Srila Haridas Thakur or like any pure devotee, and you will see so much power come to you. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj was so powerful that in a couple of years he successfully preached everywhere. Why? He was always chanting the holy name. By the power of the holy name and his own bhakti, so many souls came under his shelter. And what am I doing? I'm only chanting. I am also successful in my preaching by the power of the name. So don't disbelieve in the holy name. You can very easily receive anything by this name, money, liberation, and all other things. And Haridas Thakur is an example of this. He never wished ill to the person who challenged him, but that person became attacked by leprosy. We have seen so many scriptural references about Haridas Thakur. Last night we explained about a prostitute who was about 16 to 20 years old. Although she tried to seduce Haridas Thakur, by his grace, she became a very prominent devotee. We should try to chant the holy name like him. Once the very beautiful Maya Devi herself came to Haridas Thakur on a full moon night. She was staying in a solitary place on the side of the Ganga where she went to him and prayed. I see that you are the most beautiful man in the entire world, and you can see that I am also beautiful. Look at me for just a moment. But Haridas Thakur was absorbed in chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. She spent the entire night with him, speaking so many words to allure him. In fact, she came there 3 nights in a row. But each night Haridas Thakur told her, please wait. I have taken a vow to chant 300,000 names a day. Then finally, at the end of the night of the 3rd day, she said to him with folded palms, I am personally Maya Devi, the illusory energy of the Lord. I have cheated Shankar, Brahma the creator, Narad, Gautam, and so many others. I can cheat all others, but I am defeated by you. I am the same Maya, and now I am begging your mercy. Be pleased with me. I have received Ram Naam from Lord Shiva, but now I want to be initiated into the Krishna mantra. Please initiate me. She continued, Mukti hetu kataraka hoy Ram Naam, Krishna Naam paraka hoy kore prem dan. Prem dan. The holy name of Lord Ram certainly gives liberation, tarak. But the holy name of Krishna transports one to the other side of the ocean of nescience, which is called paraka. So there's tarak, taraka, and paraka. So the holy name of Krishna transports one to the other side of the ocean of nescience, paraka, and at last gives one ecstatic love of Krishna, Braja Prem. Being very merciful, Haridas Thakur initiated her into Krishna Nam. Although both Ramchandra and Krishna are the same by tattva, there is some speciality in Ram. What speciality? First, those who take shelter of Ram, they cannot achieve the position of Sita. And second, Ram sometimes gives up Sita for no reason. Okay, so there's this speciality of Lord Ram and Krishna. That first speciality is those who take shelter of Ram cannot achieve the position of Sita. And second, Ram sometimes gives up Sita for no reason. So here now he's going to explain this. Believing the words of a very bogus washerman, Ram gave up Sita for his entire life. There's a big end note here. That's after. So what was the fault or the offense of Sita Devi that Ramachandra gave her up? She had no fault. But Ram believed in the words of a washerman who had indirectly convinced him to leave her. So, if you are chaste in your service to Ram, he may reject you also. We fear this may happen. With Krishna, on the other hand, even the hunchback prostitute Kubja can come to him and say, "Oh, I have taken your shelter, please accept me." And he will accept her. Do you know Narakasur? He conquered all the kings of India and then collected all the beautiful princesses for his personal enjoyment. Krishna knew about this from Narad Rishi. He went and killed that demon, and he told the 16,000 princesses, "Now you are independent. You can easily go to your fathers, mothers, and others." Hey, if the kids can be a bit more quiet. You can easily go to your fathers, mothers, and others, and I will arrange for your return home. But what did they say? We don't want to return. No one will accept us now because we have been in the house of Narak Asur. So we have taken your shelter. Please give us the chance to serve your queens. We will sweep and cook for them, and we will massage them. Somehow please give us shelter. Krishna then took them all on his bird carrier, Garuda, who expanded to a very large size, and he carried them all to Dwarka. Krishna also expanded himself into 16,000 forms, married them all, and lived with them in separate palaces as his queens. Ram cannot do this. Can he marry with anyone except Sita? And he can also reject Sita. In fact, in the end, he also left his brother Lakshman forever. These scenes are all full of extreme pathos. So we will go to Krishna. Ye tamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyam. Manavartante manushya partasarvashaha. This is from Gita 4:11. All of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Krishna had promised to reciprocate with our surrender to him, so we can believe in him. Why can we believe in him?
He's promised
Promised what?
to reciprocate according to our surrender.
That's right. So therefore, we can have confidence, because he promised this. Sometimes Krishna becomes cruel in his form of Ramachandra in Ram Leela. But Krishna himself is very humble and sweet to all. In her prayer to Haridas Thakur, Maya Devi herself glorified Krishna as being more merciful than Ram. So in her ecstatic love in separation for Krishna, glorifying him indirectly in the form of rebuke, Srimati Radhika uttered these words. This is a quote now from 47th chapter of 10th canto, which is which chapter? This is the Brahmara Gita chapter. Yeah, so she's telling in this shloka, verse 17 of that chapter, Mrigayor iva kapindram vivyate lupta dharma striyam akrita virupam strijita kamayanam balim api balim atva veshtayad dvankshavad yas tadalam asita sakyayar dustyajas tat katarta. Like a hunter, this is Srimati Radhika rebuking Krishna. Like a hunter, he cruelly shot the king of the monkeys with arrows. What was his name? Bali. And because he was conquered by a woman, he disfigured another woman who came to him with lusty desires. Who was that? Yes. And even after consuming the gifts of Bali Maharaj, he bound him up with ropes as if he were a crow. So let us give up all friendship with this dark-complexioned boy, even if we can't give up talking about him. Now the gopis told to Uddhava. They said, go and tell Krishna, we have nothing more to do with him. We don't want to have any further relation with him. If he can give us up, we can also give him up. But what can we do? Our hearts can never give him up. This is the problem. How cruel he is. All black people are cruel. Not only this fellow, all black fellows are cruel. That was always funny when Gurudev would say that, and Ashram Maharaj would be there. He would sometimes make jokes in an indirect way, you know. And everybody, even Ashram Maharaj, was laughing so hard. But actually the gopis do this. They don't want to see anything black. And then there was another black person in Treta Yuga. This is the gopis who are still telling this. Who was that black person in Treta Yuga? Lord Ramchandra. A very beautiful lady came to him and said, oh, by the way, Gurudev specified why he's a black person. Because Krishna is black. And Ramachandra we generally know as what? Green color, right? But Gurudev explained that he said, just like we have our complexion, you know, fleshy complexion color, right? But then there's variations of shades of this. So he said, similarly, actually Lord Ram has also got this blackish hue tinged with the greenish hue, like that. That's not possible for us to speculate what that color, because Sham is also not a color of the material world, but it's likened to different. So, this other black person in Treta Yuga, a very beautiful lady came to him and said, I love you. I want to marry you. That black person replied, oh, I will have only one wife. I cannot marry a second. It will be better for you to go to my younger brother Lakshman. He has no wife. Actually, although Lakshman's wife was not with him in the forest, He was married. So Ram had said this only as a trick. That lady then went to Lakshman, who told her, do you want to be a queen or do you want to be a maidservant? If you marry me, you will have to be a servant of Ram's wife, because she is my queen. I am a servant, so you will be a servant. If you want to be a queen, then marry Ram. Ram can have so many wives. Then she again came to Ram. But again Ram said, oh, I cannot do this. Better that you go to my younger brother. Then, rejected by Ram, she again went to Lakshman and was again sent to Ram, and thus she became upset. Did you ever do a play of this?
Yeah, and then this festival they did this play also.
Oh, okay.
But yes.
So, rejected by Ram, she again went to Lakshman and was again sent to Ram, and thus she became upset. She wanted to kill Sita, and then Ram cut off her ears and nose to stop her. Why did he do so? He was lusty. This is the gopis still talking about Lord Ram. He was lusty. Just to please his wife, he wanted to cut off that other lady's nose. He could have humbly told her, I cannot do this. But he was joking with her and making fun of her, and that is why she became furious. He could have humbly told her, oh, I cannot do this. So you should go to your husband or anyone else. But why did he do what he did? Because he was cruel. And then third, the gopis continue, is Vamanadev. What did he do? He took all the possessions of Bali Maharaj and bound him in a snake rope. And Bali Maharaj was weeping. Somehow Prahlad Maharaj and Brahma, they arrived, and Brahma challenged, what are you doing? And then he left. There are so many deep meanings in these pastimes. But we have no time now to describe all those deep truths. So let us return to our subject. Regarding Ram Nam, Ram refers to Ramchandra, and Ram also refers to Krishna himself. In the Mahamantra, which embodies Hare Krishna and Hare Rama, Hare indicates Radhika, and Ram indicates Radha Ramana Krishna. Krishna is also called Ram, so Hare Rama indicates Radha Krishna. I think when Gurudev told this in Alachua, most of the devotees had never heard this, because in ISKCON they've never understood this, right? Yeah, they have not learned this. Maybe they've learned it up to this point. Yeah, Gurudev, or even any of the literatures that are being translated. It is stated in scriptures like the Vishnu Puran that 3 Ram names equal 1 name of Krishna. You heard that before?
Yeah.
Yes. There's an actual verse from the Vishnu Puran.
3 names of Lord Ramachandra.
Yes, equals 1 name of Krishna. Yes. Ram's name is equal to Krishna's name when Ram refers not to Ramachandra, but to Radha Ramana Krishna. And in that connection, it is sometimes superior to Krishna, the name of Krishna. There are so many things to understand here. So now he says, Haridas Thakur has 4 qualities. Guess what they are? He has 4 qualities, Haridas Thakur. Yes, you guessed it. You read this before. Trinada Pisu Nijena, Torora Pisa Hishnuna, Amanina, Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor, yet is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. Verse 3 of Sikshastakam. How is Haridas Thakur Sunichena? He used to think, I am a Muslim. I am not qualified to go to Jagannath's temple. He never used to walk on the many streets of Jagannath Puri because he was Trinadapi Sunichena. And when he was staying with Advaita Acharya in Shantipur, Advaita Acharya insisted on honoring him. All Advaita Acharya's relatives were assembled at his home, along with many brahmanas, and it was the day of their forefathers' Shraddh ceremony. So during this ceremony, the plate of prasadam offered to the forefathers is then offered to the best of the Brahmins in the assembly. So instead of offering the first plate to any other Brahmin present, Advaita Acharya offered it to Haridas Thakur, considering him greater than any of the foremost Brahmins. And Haridas began to weep, saying, I am not qualified. I am a Muslim. But what did Advaita Acharya reply? If I give you this offering, this will be the best thing in the universe. All of my forefathers will be liberated if you take this. So seeing this, all the Brahmins present became angry at Advaita Acharya. And they said, by bringing a Muslim in here, you have contaminated this place and you have insulted us. We will not eat here. We don't like your behavior. Your actions are opposed to the principles of caste consideration. Then taking their water pots, they all stood up to leave. Advaita Acharya replied, I don't care if you go. You can go. I want only bhakti. You are foolish persons. Then soon afterward, these Brahmins returned and they fell flat on the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya and also to the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur is surely out of caste, as they challenged, in the sense that he is superior to a Paramahansa. He is a combination of Prahlad Maharaj and Brahma. So we should try to follow Haridas Thakur, always chanting the holy name and being Trinada Pisuniche Na Todariva Sahishuna. So then Gurudev says to Prem Prayojan, can you prove that he is Sunichena? Then Prem Prayojan spoke this. Srila Haridas Thakur was very popular. The Muslim king was thinking, this Haridas Thakur is giving a bad reputation to Islam. He is born in a Muslim family, so why is he chanting the name of a Hindu god? So he called him to his council and he said, you should not chant the name of Krishna anymore. You should be a very good Muslim and chant the name of Allah. If you don't do this, there will be a severe punishment for you. Then Haridas Thakur replied, my dear sir, you can cut my body into thousands of pieces, and I may give up my life, but my tongue cannot give up the chanting of this name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then the king ordered that Haridas Thakur be beaten in 22 marketplaces. And Gurudev says, you should hear this, speaking to someone in the audience. Oh, my dear friend, what are you counting? You should hear this. You should give your ears to this Harikatha. What are you counting? Hear this attentively and don't allow your mind to wander. Then Prem Prayojan continues to explain this pastime. The soldiers took Haridas Thakur to the marketplace, where they had very strong and powerful whips, and they were beating him. Usually in one marketplace, one will die, because the beating is so severe. First the skin breaks, then it is cut, then the skin begins to come off. They were beating him in every marketplace until there was practically no skin, no flesh, and even his bones were broken. Like a miracle, he was still chanting the holy name. They couldn't believe it. Sometimes while they were beating him, Haridas Thakur would look towards them and smile very compassionately. He could see they were sweating from the hard labor of thrashing him. He would say, I hope your arms are not feeling pain from all of this beating. He was very humble, and sometimes they became afraid, thinking, if he doesn't die, the king will kill us. They revealed to him, the king will kill us if you don't die. And Haridas Thakur thought, oh, I don't want to give any trouble or inconvenience to others. At once he went into samadhi, and it seemed that he passed away. They took his body and threw it into the Ganga, and the next moment he came out of the Ganga and his body was strong and healthy again. This is the power of Harinam. Haridas Thakur is Lord Brahma and Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad was beaten and tortured by his father, but he never complained or he was disturbed. So Lord Brahma has said this verse, Tatenu kampam susamikshamanam unjane vatmakritam vipakam ridvagapurabir vidadhan namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadayabak. Lord Brahma told this after trying to steal Krishna's calves and cowherd boys. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. It is only a matter of time until a person attains the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. What kind of person? That person who, in the midst of all kinds of difficulties, problems, and adverse conditions, says to himself, "It is not your fault. You are not beating me. My own karma is beating me. I have done this to myself. It is my fault." And one who patiently tolerates and considers himself to be the cause of all his problems, and at the same time takes shelter with body, mind, and words in Krishna, that person will easily come to Krishna's eternal service and be happy forever. So that's the end of what Prem Prayojan is telling, and then Srila Gurudev said, Mahaprabhu performed his pastimes with devotees like Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, Shiki Mahiti, Madhavi Devi, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Rakeshwara Pandit, Sri Gopinath Acharya, Kashishwar, Vaninath Rai, Govinda, Gopal Guru, and all the Gaudiya Bhaktas like Shivananda Sain, Raghava Pandit, and Kavi Karnapur as a baby and small boy. And especially he performed pastimes with Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and Haridas Thakur. Maya Devi personally told Haridas, Chaitanya Avatare Vahe Prema Amritavanya Sab Jiva Preme Bashe Prithvi Hoilo Danya. There is now a flood of the eternal nectar of love of Godhead due to the incarnation of Lord Chaitanya. All living entities are floating in that flood. The entire world is now thankful to the Lord. So we're ending here, and there's lots more nectar as usual, but we are deprived. So we'll have to read this on our own. Gaur Premanandi. Jai Shiva Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Transcendental Disappearance Day of Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. The Transcendental Disappearance Day of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Mancha Kalputri Kripa Sindhu Patitaram Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo.